Hey guys, Brian with the PhoneArena video review for the Samsung Conquer 4G. This is the first budget 4G device we've seen, and it comes from Samsung and Sprint, of course, meaning it's running on their WiMAX network. It does run the latest version of Android 2.3.4. As you can see down here, we've got a little ID logo that indicates that this is a Sprint ID device. That also means that, for the most part, this is very much stock Android if you don't install any ID packs, which is something we really like. The first thing that really caught us was the design. It's very nice and small. It's got a 3.5-inch screen, which is much smaller than the other 4G devices we're used to seeing that have 4 and 4.3-inch screens. So plenty more pocketable. Might be a little bit nicer for some of the ladies out there who don't want a massive phone with smaller hands. Some of the other cutbacks, it's got a 3.2 megapixel camera, as you can see. It does still have an LED flash, and the camera performed pretty well in decent lighting conditions, although in dark light it really kind of fell by the wayside. Not sure, you can kind of see a little bit of ribbing here. The soft touch back feels really nice. Overall, this is a very solidly built device, so we're very pleased to see that. Down at the bottom, you've got 4 actual hardware keys. So these are your standard Android keys, but you see there's a little bit of flare down towards the bottom on them too, which just makes them that much easier to press. So those of you who are fans of hardware keys will really like these because they are nice and solid. The screen, like we said, is 3.5 inches, 320 by 480 resolution, and it's a little bit disappointing. It's probably the same exact screen that we saw on the Samsung Transform because it has the same specs, and to the eye it looks the same. So there's a little bit of pixelation here and there, but when you have a, quote, budget 4G device, you got to skimp somewhere, and Samsung has chosen to do so on the screen. That said, it's still plenty usable. There's 16 million colors, so the colors are pretty bright and vivid. It's just a little bit of that pixel density that gets to us from time to time. In terms of the hardware behind this, it's got a 1 GHz second generation Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, a gig of RAM, half of which is available to the user. So this thing really moves extremely quickly. We had no problems, no hang up, no lag. Everything slides from screen to screen very smoothly. It seemed especially fast on 3G when we were downloading things. The browser is nice and quick, so don't have any issues with that. The stock Android browser experience is getting better and better every day, and there's no exception on this. It was very smooth as we browsed, zoomed in and out with either a double tap or a pinch. So hardware-wise, we like the design. It feels good in the hand. It's pretty thin. It's solidly constructed. It's really understated. Not sure if you can tell this so much here, but you got some, it looks like a black brushed aluminum around the camera housing, and then as well on the keys. You can kind of pick that up better on some of our pictures, so make sure to check out our gallery. But the size, the metal housing or the metal casing for the phone, how everything's kind of integrated. You have your power button up here, which along with the headset jack kind of has those 2 little protrusions, but it's nice and symmetrical. The volume rocker and camera keys stick out quite nicely, so you can feel them with your hands with no problems. And then you have the micro USB charging port down at the bottom. So callers love this phone. They said it might be the best phone we've ever tested. We're very clear to them. No tinniness, no echo, no hollowness. And to us, it sounded great as well. So that's one of the big advantages to this phone, is not only is it well built, but the actual call performance is great. So far we've got great smooth interface performance. It does have the 4G speeds, which is nice. Great call quality. Battery life is right on par with what you'd expect from an Android phone. It's rated at 6 hours. It really depends on your usage. Although we will say this has been off the charger for a couple days. We're down pretty low. Haven't had a whole lot of use on it, but it holds the charge a little bit better than average. So all in all, it looks like the Samsung Conquer 4G is a winner. You do have some compromises with a little bit lesser screen, a little bit lesser camera than something like the Epic, but then again, it's half the price. It's not geared toward that high end, and we think this will find a happy home in a lot of users' pockets.